Okay, so today is Friday, August 23rd, and today I learned a little bit about, like, creation, I guess. I don't know. But basically, I had anatomy class today, and we were talking about how, like, complex we're going through, like, DNA and stuff like that. So we were talking about just, like, how complex that whole process is, how complex, like, protein synthesis, which is the process of, like, the RNA copying and then, like, the amino acids and, like, the proteins or whatever. You don't want to hear that. But basically, we were talking about how complex that system is for creating proteins and stuff like that. Yeah, it was just a very interesting conversation because there are so many examples in our body of a clear designer. And there's so many examples that just, I feel like, for me at least, disprove any beliefs you have about a non-creator mindset. I don't know, like, as I'm going through this anatomy course, I've just been thinking, like, I just have kept thinking, like, wow. Like, our bodies are so complex, and somehow, like, these tiny little microscopic, even more than microscopic, I'm pretty sure, like, super, super, super tiny, like, structures and substances somehow know, like, what their job is and, like, what they need to do to keep this cell alive and to keep this body alive. Like, it's very cool and very complex. And recently I've just been thinking about, like, whoa, that just proves even more of the fact that there was a designer, or is a designer, of our bodies, and that it wasn't just some chaotic mumbo jumbo of stuff. Like, it was an actual, well thought out, I guess, like, creation. There's a couple sort of, like, analogies, I guess, that I like to compare this kind of thing to. The first one is that the probability that us and life created from non-life happened through a kind of Big Bang, or, like, a chaotic, like, mixture, the probability is the same as if you had a junkyard and there's a tornado in the junkyard, and that tornado produced, like, a jet plane from that junkyard. Which is like, oh, that would obviously never happen. But that's, I feel like, for me at least, that's how I perceive, like, that, the idea that there was a Big Bang. Yeah. Another example is if you, let's say you were doing laundry and you put your clothes in the washer, and then somehow, when you took all the clothes out of the washer, they were all perfectly folded. Like, that is the same thing. If I did my laundry and I opened the washing machine and I saw it was all perfectly folded, I'd be like, oh, someone's trying to, like, be funny, and so they folded my clothes and then put them back in there. I wouldn't automatically think, oh my goodness, the odds of this happening, and, like, the minerals and the physicalities of inside the washing machine and actually folded it. Like, I wouldn't actually think that. I would think, like, oh, someone did that. So when we think about how this world was created, and we think about, okay, there was somehow, at one point there was nothing, and at another point there was life, and there was, like, this amazing world and solar system and universe. Why is it that people think, like, oh my goodness, the minerals and the physicalities, and they all bring together to form life? Like, that's just not, like, that's not, it's not intuitive. It, at least for me, that would not be a very intuitive way to think of, like, okay, how was life created from non-life? Probably through someone else, some higher power. That's what I think. I'm thinking, like, oh, someone else did that. If you can't tell already, I'm a Christian. And I do believe that God created the world, and created us in his image. And I don't know, as I've been going through this anatomy course, which I don't necessarily enjoy, but that's whatever. As I've been going through this anatomy course, I've just been kept on realizing, like, we are so complex, but, like, so perfectly made. And it's, like, such a cool design. So that there has to be a creator of this. Like, yeah. So, that being said, as we were talking about this, my mom, who teaches this class, was saying, like, some people say that they don't believe in Jesus because of the miracles, and that, like, that just doesn't follow their, like, it doesn't make sense, which is, like, kind of valid. Like, yeah, some of those miracles are, like, casting out demons and, like, healing what couldn't be healed. Like, that, those are some pretty crazy feats, but that's the point. Like, the point of those miracles was to show his power and control. So the fact that you don't believe in it because, like, because it was so powerful and, like, crazy, that should show you how powerful he is. I hope that makes sense. But basically, that's what we were talking about. So then she was saying, like, these people will say that they don't believe because those miracles were impossible. In a human way, they are impossible. But then she said something that really was like, whoa. She said, who defines the impossible? Who defines the impossible? It's not us. We are little minions who don't really have that much control over this world and don't really know what we're doing. So who defines what's impossible? Obviously, the person who created us. And we already know they created us because just look at your own body, research, learn anatomy, and you'll find that out. So who defines impossibility? The person who created impossibility. But that's the thing, like, impossibility isn't even a thing. Because God can do anything, like, impossibility isn't really a thing. There is human impossibility, but in terms of the overall universe and life that we live, technically nothing is impossible because there is an ultimate creator and control, like an ultimate power over us who can do anything he wants. He could, yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of just rambling. I don't really know what I'm saying, but this is just the kind of stuff that I learned today. It was just a really interesting conversation that I had when I was doing anatomy class, and we were just talking about, like, the complexities of our body and, like, how that reflects God in us. And I was even talking about this with my best friend, like, 2 days ago, and you're talking, like, he could have created us in, like, he could have created us as robots, or, like, single cellular little blobs, or, like, tardigrades. I don't know if people know what tardigrades are. But, like, he could have created us as, like, nothing, but he actually made us, like, in his image, and, like, we are our own independent beings. We have brains, we have thoughts, we have, like, this complex system of genes and DNA and protein synthesis, and it all works together so that I can be who I am. Like, that's so cool. I don't know. I don't know, I'm kind of just rambling. I don't really have a point to this. I guess I'm just trying to say that there is a creator, and I hope you can see that from just, there's a verse in, I think, Romans, where it talks about, like, you can see his creation just by looking around yourself, looking in yourself, seeing how your own body works, seeing how trees work, and just see how life works. Okay, in Romans 1, verse 20, this is the verse I'm referring to, it says, "For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made." So basically, that's kind of just describing what I'm saying. Like, if you just look at how this world has been made and created and designed, and just understand the complexities and like how all of this works and all the stuff that we don't know how it works, like, it's because someone created that. And he didn't necessarily explain how all of it works to us. It's very cool that we've been created in this way. Like, humans are so cool. Like, we get to do stuff, and we are like independent beings, and we can think and use our brains, and like, that's really cool. So use it well. Don't. This might be a banger quote. Don't live like a tardigrade. Don't live like a single cellular blob. Because we have been blessed with this creation and with this life that we live. So make good use of it. And yeah, understand that, like, there is a creator who rules and controls everything. He doesn't just watch over our lives, as some of you may think. He doesn't just come in when you need help and when you're in trouble. He's always constantly involved. So, that's kind of my ramble for today. Don't live like a tardigrade. If you don't know what a tardigrade is, then go look it up. Take advantage of this wonderful life that we have been given and been created with. Know that there's a creator who's involved in every single thing in your life. And yeah, I think that's all that I have to say today. I'm posting every day videos just like this one, just like what I learned that day, just trying to, I guess, just ramble and just talk about what I learned, because there are many things that I'm interested in that I like to talk about. So that's why I'm doing this. I've been doing it for more than 30 days straight, which is really exciting. And yeah, I think that's all I have for today. Don't live like a tardigrade. Subscribe so that you can see my videos every single day. And I will see you tomorrow.